Everybody, and welcome to Caregiving Cafe. Today we are at St. Catherine, and I'm going to get rid of this thing here. Okay, so, and welcome to Alyssa, who is just signing on. We will talk more to everybody after the talk, but Rhonda Thompson is going to address emergency preparedness for family caregivers, which is something that needs to be more widespread as information, because preparing for an emergency, we need to do that regularly. I live in Florida, so we're always preparing for a hurricane and always happy that we, get it. But with family caregivers, I was saying earlier, you need to act extra steps because we are not talking about fully able-bodied or able-minded persons. So we need to take those limitations into consideration. So, and I know that Rhonda always finds a way to make it very fun and entertaining. So thank you, Rhonda, for being here.
You're welcome. Sorry, I don't have any jokes today, but I haven't had time to do that.
Last week she's the joke lady, so.
But thank you for letting me come and share a little bit with caregivers today. It's tough on caregivers because you're already doing a million other things and then some. So if you can have a little bit extra preparation and some thought before there is an emergency, that might take a little bit of extra stress off of you. And I apologize. I do have a PowerPoint and I didn't get that sent over, so I can send it to you later, Lynn and Dora, if that's okay. If y'all want that.
Thank you. I don't know if
you're able to share your screen if you want to, Rhonda. You can share your screen.
Let me see if I can do that.
And while you're doing that, I do have a joke.
Oh, good.
But what was the first documentation of medicine being used in the Bible? Anyone? When God gave Moses 2 tablets. Dun-dun.
Oh my goodness, that is funny. I'll have to remember that one. Can y'all see that? Are y'all okay? Can you see
I can see
the screen? Let me get this out of the way. Let me see if I can do it.
That was our segue into the presentation.
Yeah, it was open.
Thank you.
Well, I have one.
And some of y'all have already seen this. There we go. Is that okay?
Rhonda, I'm only able to see a center line. I don't know if everybody else can see that, but
can y'all see?
It was open initially. Like initially when she came over, she had the screen open. Then it went to
the how about that? Is that better?
No.
Go back out and then come back in.
Try it again. You saw it a while ago. Let me see if you can see it here. Can you see it here?
No. Yes.
Okay.
There.
Yes. Okay. Okay. That's good because it's on my. I put it on one of my monitors. Let me organize my thing here. So it's split. Okay. So let me go back here. There we go. So are you ready? Is what I always ask, and because we're not always ready, and it's we've had a few disasters, emergencies happening. We've had the ice storms. We had a pandemic. Talking about toilet paper at the store, we've had some things like that, and so we need to think about that. A flood. We haven't had enough rain to flood, but that's always a possibility. Chemical spill, explosion, train derailment. Some places there's train derailments or shortages. Like I said, during COVID, we had a lot of shortages. You had to go. We had to figure out a lot of things that way. But are we ready for something? And we just want to make sure that folks are and backing up. I wanted to mention, and I don't have. I think y'all may have maybe some of the flyers, but get ready. Or Warren Central Texas. Warren Central Texas will give you alerts if you go to Warren Central Texas. I don't know if there's a dot. I don't have a flyer here on my desk, but Warren Central Texas, and you can put in which county you live in too, and then get alerts of emergencies in the area. So that's fairly helpful to have. Making,
I ran out of those little things, but yeah.
Yeah,
One Central Texas.
Central Texas.
Yeah, if you Google it, you get the info.
absolutely. So then making a plan. And it, you know, you're like, oh no, I have to do something else. I need to do something else. I don't have time to do this. Well, it's probably better to do it before than in the midst of an emergency. But making a plan. So signing up for emergency. Oh, I already have that up there. Emergency alerts. You can get lists from ready.gov, but also Texas Ready has a list. You can get lists from texasready.gov, and they tell you all the steps. So, and it's, you know, ready.gov is national. Texas Ready is of course Texas focused. It's from Texas. It's the same information, same list, but you know, it has Texas on it. So, but it's,
Yes.
it's what?
Has barbecue on the list.
It has, yeah. Well, it does. Yes, right. It has barbecue and bluebonnets. No.
Yeah.
But having having that information and you know, being aware, so making a plan. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. But have an evacuation route in case you have to leave. You know, in case you have to evacuate, having a plan. Your person may need a wheelchair, they may need oxygen, they may need some other things. And so, you know, you need to be prepared that way. Where are you going to go? And so maybe look at the map and see, you know, where's a safe place for us to go. A lot of times an evacuation plan may include, you know, getting to a hospital, getting to an assisted living facility. They might be able to help with that, but just check with that first. Make a plan ahead and communicate. It's great to have a plan, but you got to talk about it. You know, you need to let family members know what the plan is. This is what we're doing. This is what, you know, in the event this happens. When my daughter is an adult and lives in South Austin, but when she was in high school, when she was younger, and we lived in an area, she was in junior high and high school, we lived in an area that had a terrible flood. And so we were not impacted, but we talked about what do you do in case, you know, what are we going to do in case there's another flood? And we talked about a plan with our family, and this is a meeting place. This is where, you know, in case we get, you know, here's a couple of locations. But anyway, so talk, you know, develop a plan, have a plan, but communicate that plan. And the paperwork, the list that you get will talk about having a plan, how to set up a plan, emergency contacts, all kinds of information that is very helpful for that. And again, specific needs in your household. My daughter has type 1 diabetes, so we always have a diabetic bag that has all kinds of stuff. Again, she's an adult now, so mom's not as involved as I was when she was younger, but she has specific needs. So in case she has to evacuate, she knows she needs to grab her diabetic bag, which has supplies in it for her. And so your family, you know, your family, your care partner may have specific needs. Make sure that you pay attention to what their specific needs are. Do they need you know, adult, depends. Do I need to make sure I have special food? Do I need to have a blender, you know, or have something like that because they're not able to eat solid food or you know, specific to your person. Filling out an emergency plan. Pets, don't forget the pets, the dogs, the cats. They're important too if they're part of your family. Medical equipment, batteries. My daughter and I, when we go on trips just to visit family in Fort Worth, you know, she has an insulin pump and it operates on batteries. And twice now, she's an adult, I don't know, but twice now she hasn't had batteries. And so, you know, it's like asking family, do y'all have any of these batteries for her insulin pump? And so making sure, you know, there's batteries. Do you have batteries for things, medical devices, things like that? Prescriptions, having a copy of the prescription, you know, take a picture of that prescription and have that in case you need to be out, or in case something happens and you lose your medications. Dietary, are there specific dietary needs? And so you can make a plan, write all this information down. Who's your support network? Is there a place you can go? When I lived in the community where there was a huge flood, it was amazing because so many people had that were flooded were able to go and stay with other people, with family, with friends. And so, do you have a support network? And then again, share your plan. It's one thing to make a plan, but don't keep it secret. You need to share that plan. An extra key to your home, backup service providers, things like that. A lot of things to think about. And then communicating with your care partner, letting them know as much as possible what's going on, and let them be involved as much as possible as well. But again, communicating with healthcare providers, say what just in case of an emergency, I wanted to touch base with you on that, on some things that you would suggest. And so communication is really important. And then staying in touch, finding out what's happening in your community. So a plan is what is going to happen, who is involved, when, how are you going to do these things, and where. And we're going to look a little bit deeper at that and those things. Building a kit. Now, I don't know if anybody has an underground bunker like that right there. If you do, let me know. I'll come to that'll be my location to come. No, just kidding. But this other is a backpack, and this is an example. So in the list, you can get a list from texasready.gov that tells you what to put in your what in your kit. And so this is this is an example from American Red Cross. They sell kits too. So Red Cross is another resource for you, and they build ready kits. I don't know, and then you buy them. I don't know how much they cost, because I've put together my own. But you can get a list and just make that list and make it specific for you again. So, and if you have an underground bunker, good for you. Hope, maybe you can get there in case of something happening. Let's see. Need to turn here we go. So there's two types of kits. One is shelter at home, and one is if you have to evacuate, having a grab bag. If you have to shelter at home, you need to have things like food and water at home. Again, pet needs. If you have a pet, don't forget that. Have a good first aid kit. And personal hygiene. When we had the ice storm, people didn't have water. They didn't have power. So, it was kind of challenging. Water and food, people didn't have any. If they didn't have power, they didn't have any way to cook. If they didn't have water, they didn't have any way to clean. So just throwing some personal hygiene things in there. My kit has a toothbrush and a little toothpaste kit your dentist gives you. I collect those. I'll put them in my thing, or or you can get them at the travel section in the store. A lot of things from travel section there. Clean air items, 3 sources of fire. Don't build a fire in your home, but communication, medications. Make sure that you have medications, or maybe some, you might be able to get a stockpile of medications. And then personalize it. Make sure that it is for your family, because the American Red Cross bags, they're just generic. They put a bunch of stuff in there, and then you can add things to your bag. If you have to leave, and both places, 7 days supply of food, water, and necessities for each person and pet. So you say, well, I don't need that much water. Yeah, you do. There's a lot of things you might need water. The water source might be contaminated for some reason. Another thing is a document bag that you can put in so making copies of social security cards, insurance, medical cards, bank account info, lists of meds with dosages, doctors' phone numbers, current picture IDs, a variety of things, that you can slip in that document bag and put in your go bag. Sorry, my ear thing keeps wanting to slide out. Let me see if this one works better. So let's see. Sheltering in place. That's where you can listen. I can't hear out of this one. Listening and hearing those alerts. The Warren Central Texas will send an alert to your phone. You can sign up for these things. So they'll send an alert to your phone. They can send an alert to your computer. Because I work with the agency that sends those out. I get one on my work computer, I get one on my home computer, and I get one on my phone. And it tells you what's going on. And if you need to stay inside, if you need to evacuate. Again, you can go to that Warren Central Texas, probably .org, but I'm not 100% sure. And just sign up and go to that website, and then it'll give you the steps to follow. And then, like I say, you can put in your county. You can put in sometimes you might be able to put in your community. It just depends. But check that out, and then have a stay kit for each person. Not just you may have a stay kit that you put like a few things in that for everybody, but make sure everybody also has their specific needs, what they're going to need for about 3 to 7 days. Because let me tell you, in case there's an emergency, and y'all, we went through the ice storm and some bad weather a couple of years ago. EMS or emergency services is going to be overwhelmed, and they're going to try to get to as many people as they can. But the other thing is they're going to be involved in their own emergency. They were impacted just as much as everybody else was. And so, y'all know they were down limbs, that, it was rough for a couple of days, and then maybe a little bit longer. But so it's important that you're not waiting immediately for someone to come and help if something happens, because they may not be able to get to you as quickly as we want them to. And so that's why I'm saying you need to be ready to take care of yourself for a little bit. And that's what they'll tell you too, is you just need to be ready to take care of yourself until the help arrives. If you need to evacuate, I have some friends, childhood friends that live in Corpus Christi. And so I'll go visit them occasionally. I was down there visiting over Labor Day weekend. And I always am drawn to the side of the road where they have the evacuation route signs, if y'all have seen those before. And that's another reason to be connected is to hear the emergency alerts. So in case you have to evacuate, because you want to make sure that you know how to get out. There's some good places, how to use the roads, how to get around. And y'all know 35 is a lot of times busy, packed up. So maybe having alternate routes as well. Go for a drive, take you and your care partner, go for a drive and check things out. Hey, let's just go for a drive and see what are some back roads. So practice with the family, involve your person, make sure that they're involved. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention, a couple of other things, is having a weather radio. And Walmart has those, Red Cross has those, Target has those weather radios. You can order them online if you like Amazon, or to order from Amazon. Having a weather radio and a portable radio, but have extra batteries. And I don't put the batteries in my bag, in my shelter bag, because y'all know what happens when batteries are in a radio for a long time. They get kind of crusty and gross and all that stuff. So I have extra batteries that are separate, but they're there for that. But I put it all together. Same thing with flashlights. I know we all have cell phones with lights, but they may not always work. You know, they may run out of power. But having extra batteries and flashlights, and there's all kinds of fun things that you can get wind up radios, you can get wind up flashlights, you can get solar powered things as well. So having those kinds of things in your bag. I'm trying to make sure I haven't forgotten anything, because I take notes on these because I'll forget something later. Candles, having candles, and like a bigger candle. And there are candles that you can buy for emergency candles that like 4 in a package, and they're a larger size. You have to be careful with that, but you know, candles can help too. Having a non-electric can opener, that's huge, you know, because if you have, you know, if you have to use canned goods you're going to use canned goods and cook, and your electricity's not working, you know, and you can't use your can opener. So having a non-electric, and they're out there. I've got a pretty one on my, you know, that I got. I like the color. And battery operated lights or motion, you know, some kind of lights that you can use as well. But like I said, letting others know, you know, communicate your plan, have a meeting place in case you need to, and maybe have a backup meeting place in case you need to. And then everybody that needs to know knows where the information is located. You know, don't put your emergency bag on the bottom of the closet and then cover it with all kinds of stuff. It's like, now where did I put that bag? I can't remember where that bag went. You know, but have it, I mean, you don't need to have it by the door, but have it someplace it's easy to get to, and other people that would be involved that would know where that is. You know, you could give them a description of it, or, you know, it's in this corner over here. But you have to move the clothes off of it before, you know, but no, you need to make sure that it's accessible. And then another thing with that is go through it. You know, once you build that, go through it once in a while, maybe every 6 months or a year ish, you know, but or less, to make sure that everything is up to date, is current, because there are expiration dates on food and water. Water has expiration dates too. And so just look through and make sure that there's no, you know, nothing's running out. Pull that out, whatever's in there, pull that out and use it. When we had the storm, and I didn't have power for 2 days, and that staff people here were teasing me. They said, "Rhonda, how are you doing? You got your emergency supplies stuff?" And I said, "I do." And I had some backpacking food that was going to be expiring in the next few months. So guess what I had? I had backpacking food, or I had camping food that was going to be expired. So I went ahead and ate that, and it was easy to fix. And then again, everybody has their own kit. Financial preparedness. We kind of forget this one sometimes. Take a picture or scan important documents and put them in a document bag. I used to, they were, TexasReady.gov was sending me some heavy duty plastic bags, but I think they don't have any right now because they haven't sent me anymore. But getting one of those, you know, those big, a plastic bag, and putting these things in there, have some cash. Now put it somewhere where you're not going to pull it out and go, "Oh, I got cash here, let's go spend it." Put your cash somewhere where, you know, put it in your bag, put it in your emergency bag. And I've got some other things on here. FEMA has some emergency information. They're a great resource. They're ready.gov basically, but they have an emergency financial first aid kit, and it's several pages. So that's why I don't have it here, but you can always look at that. And then the yellow folder, and Lynn probably is familiar with that. Dura probably is familiar with that. We give those, and y'all may have seen those too, but the yellow folder is where you can list all your legal and financial information is. We usually give those out and say, in case you have to go to the hospital, just say it's right here. But it's also good for you in case of an emergency. And I don't know if you still have some, but you know, we have a few of those laying around. We like to. I always say it's our best seller. It's free. We give these things away, but it's one of our best sellers. But being aware of those things, because you know the other thing is if the power's out, what happens to ATMs? What happens to electronic financial transactions. You know, we may not be able to use that. So that's why it's good to have some cash available. Be aware. Every time there's a disaster, emergency event, be aware of scams, because there are not always nice people out there that want to help you. Sometimes there are people out there that want to take your money. And so just be aware of that. If it sounds too good to be true, you know, what is it? It's probably not. You know, ask somebody else. Ask for assistance. And FEMA always comes in and helps when a disaster has been declared. And they have great resources. Different church organizations come in to help as well. FEMA is Federal Emergency Management Assistance, or so I think maybe it's assistance. And so they're going to come in and help. And then, like I say, different churches have disaster organization, a disaster arm that they come in and they help as well. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened to that slide. So I'm just going to oh, there it is, warrencentraltexas.org. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Somebody's messing with my slides. Ready.gov, Red Cross, the AACAP.org is us, the Area Agency on Aging. And then atxfloods.com is another resource. Again, I apologize for that. I don't know what happened to that. So the next steps would be make a plan, get a kit, be prepared, and let neighbors, friends, family know about what your plan is. Maybe get to know some of your neighbors. You know, you probably, you may know them, you may not, but here's a chance. Hey, and there are some neighborhoods that do get together and they do plan for an emergency, because we never know. Emergencies are scary. They're unexpected. You know, how many of us were ready for the storm? I can't remember what they call it, but whatever they call it. How many of us were ready for that storm? I certainly wasn't when it happened a couple of years ago. And I moved that weekend. So I'm like, ooh. And they can also be expensive, dangerous. So if you have a plan, then you're already ahead by having that ready to go. It can be scary. There are emotional impacts of disasters as well. But if you're already, you know, if you got some planning going, that's really good. I'm just looking at my notes to see if I need to add anything else. I think that's probably all I want to say right now. Do y'all have any questions for me? What I use is I had a bag, like an overnight bag, and I put that as my stay home or shelter in place bag. And then my daughter went to diabetic camp a few years, and so every time she went to diabetic camp, they gave her a backpack, and so I used I've got a couple of those, and so we've used those as I've got 3 of them, I think, and so we've used those as she's got one, I've got one, in case it's a grab and go kit or grab and go. And sometimes and a lot of times I'll have something in my car, because you know, you never know if something's going to happen in the cart.
Rhonda, I was muted, so I wanted to add something.
Oh,
Thank you. Regarding your important documents and all kinds of anything paperwork.
Yes.
Waywiser app, waywiser.com is about to launch what they call Vital Vault, which is a quickie way to have securely stored your all sorts of very delicate, sensitive, private documents of any sort, medical, legal, financial. They already offer that ability. It's waywiser.com, and I'll put in an email in the next few days.
Is that electronic?
Yes. So at least it's something, and it's better than nothing, you know, but you can store it securely, and they emphasize the security your documents are safe. Being stored at waywiser.com, and that way you have it right here in your hand. Now, in addition to their regular vault, they're coming up with a vital vault, which is a shorter, I don't know, I guess documents that you would need more often. I would include like medications log and doctors' contact information would live there, as well as all your insurance cards, identification, whether it's driver's license or state ID or government ID, in one place. Because when you need it, it's right there. God forbid you could be out somewhere and maybe you don't have your bag or your backpack with you. You're at a park or something and you may not be able to get home. You have it in your hand.
That's
so
good. So on your phone is what you mean when you say in your
right,
hand.
exactly. It's stored in your phone.
Yeah.
And you can also use a regular computer, laptop, desktop. It's not only for your phone.
Okay.
But that's another place to have that. And there's also, and I can't remember right this second, but perhaps Rhonda or Dura, there's a place where if you have to evacuate, a list of shelters.
Yeah.
But you put in your zip code and it can tell you where you can go if you have to leave your home.
Yeah, and I don't know that specific, but Red Cross will always have that information because they have shelters already identified, and the emergency managers for your county already have. I mean, they for the most part they're already identified. So Red Cross would have a.
Yeah, they even have like I've seen some because I've gotten the notifications and I can't remember sending them to me, but like cooling centers.
Yes, cool, exactly.
But also a place to warm up. If you're freezing, you have no power, you can go to these places.
And I mean I totally agree. The electronic version is wonderful. However, in case the electronics aren't working, it's always good to have a copy, and you can just make copies. You can put your IDs on and make one sheet, if they're small. You can do insurance cards, driver's license, things like that.
Right. I figure both ways. You got
you're covered.
Right. Make sure your phone is charged. I know. Like if
and put a charger in your bag. Keep it. They don't cost that much. Buy a charger and leave that in your bag. Because they don't. That's the thing. People may have no power. Their phone is fine, but then they don't have power anymore. Or there's battery packs. I have one a little phone charger that I have to charge it every now and then, but it lasts for several charges on my phone if I forget to plug it in. And then I could kind of like set it on top and like, oh, that looks cool. But also another thing is photos, having photos of family members for ID, in case you or in case you get separated. Here's a picture of my, somebody was going to say something.
Yeah, sorry. I thought of something else. My friend's house flooded. It was just 2 inches. But if you're gonna, when you store your emergency kit, don't put it on the floor.
Put it high, exactly.
Put it up high somewhere.
Mine's in my closet, top of my closet. And so it's. I every time I open that particular closet, I see it right there, and I don't put anything on it. If I do put something over it, it's very small, and it just, I still know my kit's right there, and I pull it out. Like I say, I pull it out every so often and just kind of look through. Oh, I don't have this in here. I think I'm going to add this, or look at the expiration dates. Well, this food is going to expire in 6 months, so I need to remember. And even in my kitchen, I make sure and I look at it, because canned goods are good to have in any case of an emergency. But so I look, even now I look at, and I have 3 shelves, and I put, okay, these last longer, these in between, and these are going to be these expiring soon. So I need to eat these first, and then these are okay. I've got some time, and then I'll move things around. But just keeping track of that, and it's really good to have canned things at home. And then you can get sterno. Y'all know what sterno is those little flames they use to like at buffets and things. Well, Walmart, I love Walmart for their camping. They've got a great camping section. And so you can go to Walmart and they have all these different things you can get for camping, and because I like to camp too, but also for emergencies. And so you can get a little sterno stove, and you can get those little canisters of sterno in the event of an emergency. So I don't know how many sets of those I have, and I put the stove, and they're just a little, and they're not really a stove. They're just a platform with some metal sides around them. And then you get the little sterno container, and then have some way to light that. Have some matches, and they have waterproof matches. They have wind matches that won't get, not the little bitty flimsy matches, but get some good sturdy matches. And then also get some of those I don't know what they're called, but those lighter things that you use. Have some of those around. You can put those in your kit, because you may not be able to use your stove. You may not be able to cook. And then have a manual can opener. Have toilet paper. Get toilet paper. Have toilet paper. Bleach. Have a jug of bleach, because you might have to clean some things. Clothing. When I lived in up north for a few years. I'm from Texas, and I was cold the whole time. I lived up in North Dakota, and I was cold, freezing all the time. But they have, they talk about having a winter kit in your car. We don't have to deal with that here, but in case you're out somewhere and you're stranded, do you have some things in your car? What if your car breaks down and you're out in the middle of nowhere? Do you have some water in your car? Do you have some things in your car that might be helpful for you? And then again, don't forget the pets. Their food. They need water. Their documentation. They've been vaccinated, a leash, their collar, things like that. And there's I know there's other things I'm forgetting, but if you go, you can get these lists from texasready.gov or ready.gov, and there's lists. They also have a sheet that you can talk about important information for family members, medical information, neighborhood meeting place. Having an out-of-town contact is important too. Because hey, maybe you need to go and stay there for a little bit, or maybe they're trying to find you, and having somebody who's not in the area is helpful. Having information written down. You can get an emergency wallet cards to put in your wallet that has that information you can put in your wallet. You can get a list of things that you need broken down. And I'm just looking now at my list at these things that I have. Have a book, or have some games. Have something to entertain yourself too. You can get travel size games. You can get some things, but have something so you don't, you're not bored if you have to shelter in place or you have to leave. I've got a bag of games and stuff that if we're traveling, sometimes I may stick in the car, because who knows what, in case you get stuck somewhere. But have something that you need: a washcloth, towel, wipes. Having some wipes, just in case. So, any other questions or comments?
I was just going to say, from the other side, like you can use social media if you do use something like Facebook, and say, okay, I'm okay with family in Florida, and they do get the hurricane here and there in Tampa, and then people check in with Facebook, for example, and say, okay, so that's also.
I think we can just hand them what you need and say, start getting the packet ready.
I put my contact information there.
Okay, thank you.
as
Um,
well. And the best way to reach me is email, because Celine knows I'm not always in the office in Dura, but the best way, in case you want any follow-up information on this, but the resources are at your fingertips. Just do a little research on go to Texas Rate. They've got tons of great information. I'm just giving you a little bit, but they have a whole lot more information. They talk about different, there's handbooks on care partners, caregivers. They do have a caregiver information on their website. Ready.gov does as well. Things to do for kids. If you work with, if you have kids, grandkids, or families that, around, there's things for kids. There's games for kids. There's puzzles. There's word search. There's all kinds of wonderful resources on those websites, and they're available, and they're free resources. Basically, because we just, in the event of a disaster emergency, we're pretty much on our own in the initial 3 days, because who knows what the extent of things are. So you just need to be prepared, that something could happen, and nobody's going to come to our rescue right away. And so that's that's hard to think about, but that's how it is, because there are other people that may be more vulnerable, more at need, at risk. And so, and roads may be untraveled. I mean, who knows? There's just all kinds of things. So the word is to be prepared to take care of yourself initially, 3 days, 7 days. It just depends on what the situation is.
all right. Well, thank you. I think we have our to-do list for that.
Give you another thing to do, another list.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that as a family caregiver, I think we probably have some of like medications and things like that, and documents. It's just a matter of maybe making copies and putting them in a bag or
And if
something.
not, I'll put a binder clip on it. I'll be ready.
Like these things and put them in either a backpack or a shopping cart, or so but like
A rolling bag, put things in, a rolling suitcase.
yeah
something that works for you.
Right, yes, exactly. And so anyway, and think of the seasons too, I guess, Thank you so much, Rhonda. It's always enlightening to hear this. I mean, thank goodness September comes around every year, right?
It does.
Preparedness Awareness Month. So now you've been made aware. We've thanks to Rhonda, we are informed. But I think the Aging Services Council, because I worked on that as well, to put together the emergency kit contents. Just it's informational flyer, and then another group put together the actual kits.
And I delivered a bunch of those kits to people out in different areas.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
So I was very proud to be part of that effort. So I will dig that up and send it out. So, but I can't send out the kit. I can send out the list.
No, but exactly. There's a list. Yeah. And that's a start.
Yeah,
that's a start.
And like Rhonda said, you tailor it to whatever your needs and your family's needs are, but definitely to share that information. So, well, thank you so much, Rhonda. I look forward to seeing you again soon, because I know you're all over the place doing lots of good things. Yes, of course.
So my mother-in-law is in a small group home, like assisted living situation, and they're licensed and everything, they're on the up and up. Do they have training requirements, and what should we do to take care of her whenever she's not in our house?
That's good, because they should have a plan, and it's okay. It's perfectly reasonable for you to ask to go and just say, I was just wondering, I know that September is Preparedness Month. You could start, with that, and I just wondered what your plan is. Now, sometimes we see sad stories, tragic stories about people who are living in facilities. And it is really heartbreaking, but I would talk to them and just see what what they have, and that's perfectly allowed for you to just say, hey, I just want to make sure, just know what to do. But pay attention to what's going on too, because you might need to, I don't know, but maybe have a kit for her of extra things that would, that you keep and that you could take, if you needed to take that.
Our
But
facilities are required to have it posted on the wall, what their plan is. So are most healthcare facilities like hospices and stuff like that. Everybody should have a plan in case of an emergency. If it's a smaller facility, it might not be on the wall, but they should have a binder that has that information there. Anytime it's a healthcare facility, there should be some plan that they can show you.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, they're going to have it, but if for
yeah.
feeling better about things, more peace of mind for you, just ask them about that, and then maybe have an extra kit in case, that you feel that you maybe during whatever the emergency is, that you would feel better if she was with you. If that worked out, then you'd have something prepared for her as well. It just depends. But yeah, they should have a plan. And for my peace of mind, if I had a relative somewhere, and because I want to make sure, okay, who's doing it? When my daughter was in school, I'd go, who's going to take care of her in case she needs something? And I need that reassurance from me. And so, if that's what you need, then you can, you're certainly welcome to go ask them about that. And then, like I say, have something ready for her in the event that you want, that you want or need her closer. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
All right, anybody else have a comment or question? Anything? All right, well, thank you so much again, Rhonda, for being here, and I look forward to your next joke. Okay, and Dura too.
I should have tried to find one. Yeah, Dura, that was a good one. I hadn't heard that one yet. So,
All
right, thanks everybody.
I listened to K-Love Radio, and that was on K-Love yesterday.
Oh, that's funny. I'll have to write that one down. All right, thanks. Y'all have a good meeting.
Bye, Rhonda.
Thank you so much, and we can stop the recording too.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Dura.
Easier said than done. Hang on.